It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Kate Middleton, you go girl. Can we just get off the back? Toddlers, preschoolers, little kids, whatever. Can we just let them be kids and not expect them to sit through a boring pageant? I wouldn't have even sat through that pageant.
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
It's Friday, Feel Good Friday. Hello, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the founder of happyfamilies.com.au. Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling?
I'm wondering why it's Feel Good Friday.
Because Fridays feel good. It's almost the weekend. We get to breathe. We get to relax. We get to slow down.
I thought you might have a big surprise or something.
Here with Kylie, my wife and mum to our 6 kids, who is going to be desperately disappointed now that, now that I've highlighted that I don't have a surprise.
Dang it.
Thanks for that. Hey, can I just share some really exciting news before we get into our I'll Do Better Tomorrow and all the stuff that we've got to do today? I've just done a quick Google, and my 7th book is available for pre-order now online.
Woohoo! Is that the big surprise? That's the feel good.
That's why I'm
the
feeling
feel good.
So in case you've missed it, I've written a brand new book. I was approached by the people that write the Dummies books, and I've written Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. The 2nd edition. It's an Australian one. There's a US version as well. You've got to make sure you get the Australian one. But the Australian 2nd edition, Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. We'll link to it in our show notes for the podcast. It's available for pre-order now, just in time for Father's Day. If you know a dad who is expecting, can I say that?
A dad who is expecting.
Dads expect in the same way that mums expect. That's okay, isn't it? I hope I'm not just... We've just lost half our listeners because of my political incorrectness. You know what I mean. Dads are expectant. They're not expectant in the same way that mums are expectant, but dads are excited about all this baby stuff. If you know a dad who's going to be having a baby... Okay, I need to say that again. If you know a dad whose partner or wife is having a baby and he wants a little bit of support, wants to know what to do.
If you know someone who's going to become a dad.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to say. I did write the book after all. You'd think I'd get this together, wouldn't you? The book's available. Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. You can find it online for pre-order right now, just in time for Father's Day. You can get it at Booktopia. I think that's online at Dimmicks and a couple of other online retailers as well. The pre-orders. Hey, can I actually mention this in all seriousness? I know we've sort of goofed off a bit, but I'm so proud of this book. Kylie, you and I have been through 6 labours together. One of them ended up being an emergency cesarean, but we've had these 6 labours together, and the things that we've learned about how a husband or partner can support his wife or partner as she's going through that labour process have been relationship changing. And I've put all of that in there, all the stuff that we've learned from going through these labours and talking with people who know exactly how this stuff works best. Would you agree they've been some of the most wonderful bonding experiences of our lives in spite of everything you went through?
As long as we're not talking about baby number 1, yes, hands down.
Okay. All right, so baby number 1, we didn't get any help, right? but all the rest of them we
were doing it. We were doing it alone.
Should we share the story? I know it's I'll Do Better Tomorrow, but this is worth sharing. So, Kylie, how pregnant were you when we decided to go for a drive from Rockhampton to Brisbane, 7 hours in our Daihatsu Charade?
Well, I had 12 days to go.
12 days till the due date?
Yep.
And your parents were in Brisbane. We were living in Rockhampton. I was a radio announcer, and I thought, let's just go down and visit your family.
It was first time round. Neither of us were pretty clued in.
We had no idea what we were doing.
And I miss my mum.
Yeah.
I wanted to be with my mum. So we took a quick drive down to Brisbane,
a quick 7 hours in the Daihatsu.
And my parents were actually at a social event, so we crashed the party and said hello to everybody, and then headed back home. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I started getting some niggles. And I'd actually gone into pre-labour at about 7 months, so I actually knew what was happening.
Yeah.
But it wasn't serious, so I just kind of let you sleep through it. By about 6 o'clock, they had increased, and I knew that this was actually building.
This was going to turn into a labour, yeah.
And so I woke you up and I said, I think we need to go home, which is 7 hours
7
away.
hours in the car. And your parents were like, maybe you should stay in Brisbane and have this baby.
And all I could think about was, no, I paid all this money to have the obstetrician of my choice, and I want him to be the one that delivers my baby, not some random in some Brisbane hospital.
Right.
And
who probably would have done the job just fine.
Probably, but, So anyway, you and I got in the car and we drove.
7 hours back to Rockhampton while you're labouring. I remember
some people would say it was probably a little bit a little bit irresponsible.
Ambitious.
But being first time and knowing that generally speaking, first time's quite slow, I rang a friend of mine who was actually due the same day as I was in Rockhampton, but she was having baby number 4. So I actually rang her and I said, "This is what I'm thinking." She said, "Yeah, you should be okay."
Terrible advice.
She should be okay. So
I didn't write about this in Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. I should have. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have put it in there. It would have been a great story.
So anyway, we drove all the way home. I contracted the entire way. I was in so much pain. We were in a little 2-door charade.
I still remember stopping at the petrol station.
Yes.
And it wasn't a self-serve. They actually come out and put the petrol in. It was because it was that long ago. And the lady saw you in the back,
trying to get out of the car, and I couldn't.
And she said, "Oh, is your wife okay?" And I said, "Oh, she's in labour. We're about to have a baby." And she was like, "Oh, how fast can I pump this gas? Like, I'm going to get this petrol in the car now." She absolutely freaked out.
But we drove into Rockhampton and everything stopped. Literally, everything stopped. So we'd had plans that were supposed to go ahead, but because we'd made a trip to Brisbane, we'd cancelled them. So we rang our friend, Bachelor, all the more, and said, "Hey, we're back in town. Do you want to come over for dinner?" And he did. And literally he knocked on the door and I started labour again.
That's right. So we had a very uncomfortable meal until he finally said, "I really think I should go." And, of course, we went to hospital and we had our firstborn. And anyway, Dad's Guide to Pregnancy. Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. The book is there so that you don't make the same mistakes that I do. Also, that the loved ones in your life, the dads who are going to, or the men who are going to become dads, either for the first
the reason
or
you
the
have
fourth
written
time,
this book is so that the mothers in the room feel supported.
Yes, because
and the dads in the room actually feel empowered to be able to give the appropriate support.
You should write the advertising copy for me. This is great. So the book's available. This wasn't supposed to turn into a story and a plug for the book, but there it is. The book is called Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. You can get it on pre-order now from all of the usual places online. Make sure that you get the second Australian edition with my name on the cover. Okay, the Dr. Justin Coulson one. If you buy,
or you might get a very different approach to dadhood.
You might feel like I've nailed it. Anyway, today is about I'll Do Better Tomorrow. That's what this podcast's supposed to be, where we talk about the wins and the losses, the things that we got right and the things that we got wrong, the nails and the fails, if I can paraphrase a friend of mine, Holly Wainwright, in terms of how our parenting has gone. Kylie, given that we've talked about this so far, let's do that right after the break. The unhealthy, unhelpful boy code that is rampant in our children's school and social environments encourages some persistent and dangerous ideas about what it means to be male. But the Building Better Boys webinar is here to help unpack these cultural ideas and help guide our boys to be brilliant, beautiful, and even better. Building Better Boys is available today online at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Hey, did I mention that I've got a new book coming out?
I think the whole first half was about that.
Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies. Just saying. It's out now. Anyone you know who's going to become a dad, they need to read it, even if it's not the first time they're becoming a dad. Okay. I'll do better tomorrow, Kylie. Can I just... This is not about my book. I've been meaning to bring this up on the podcast for about a week and a half now, and I keep forgetting. Can we please talk about Kate Middleton? Can we please talk about Prince Louis, or Prince Louis? I don't know how you say it. Prince Louis. And the expectation that people have that a preschooler will sit and watch the most boring pageant in the world for hours.
I don't think it's a preschooler. I think it's the fact that Prince Louis is royalty and the expectation that the public has on that. And what I love about this story, and I love it, fans probably not the right word, but I just loved Princess Diana. And so over the years, I've watched a lot of documentaries and things, including her sons, and just their remembrances of childhood and just the structure and the strictness and the lack of emotion and empathy and connection that existed between parents and grandparents and children. And this story just warms my heart that one generation later, we've had such a shift just in that one family.
Circuit breaker. Kate Middleton, you go, girl. That's all I wanted to say. Can we just get off the back? Toddlers, preschoolers, little kids, whatever. Can we just let them be kids and not expect them to sit through a boring pageant? I wouldn't have even sat through that pageant. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So Kate Middleton is she's my inspiration for I'll Do Better Tomorrow. What is your I'll Do Better Tomorrow?
So we have an 8-year-old in our house who is desperate to acquire an app on my phone.
Right.
She is a Pokemon fiend and would love to have Pokemon Go. She's played it on a few other people's phones and is desperate for me to download it. My issue with it is that if I do, then not only will I not know where my phone is half the time,
Yeah.
that she will just be constantly on it. And so we sat down and I said to her, well, I said, if you are really convinced that you need to have this, then I think you need to sit down and have a think about the reasons why you need to have it and maybe write a little bit of a persuasive speech,
An argument,
argument as to why you think this is a good idea and why it's so important to you.
Right.
Can I read you what she wrote?
I can see it's in purple texter on one of my clean pieces of A4 paper that
She may have asked me a couple of times while she was thinking about these things, how do I spell this word?
What's she written?
She said, it gets me out of the house more.
Fair call.
It makes me exercise.
Oh, I don't know if chasing Pokemon's really exercise, but that's fine. I guess it's more active than sitting on the couch staring at a screen.
Lots of people have it.
Lots of people do lots of unhealthy. I don't know if that's a strong argument.
She's also suggested that she will eat more food if she's able to get it.
Really?
It will keep me entertained. INTEERTAND.
Oh, no, stop. You're destroying my brain when you try to spell her spelling. That's
It'll keep me entertained and I will not ask for it all the time.
Here's the great thing about this. As parents, our job is not to just say yes or no all the time and be the unilateral arbiter. Our job is to help our kids to think through things, to make arguments, to work out how they can function effectively. And I love this. She's given us, 6 reasons? 6 reasons she has to have Pokemon Go. Where are you up to with it? Are you going to give it to her?
At this point, no.
No.
But the conversation continues.
Yeah.
And again, I just, like you said, I love that she's thinking about it. I love that she's coming up with reasons why it's actually positive. But it leads into the capacity for us to have conversation. I haven't shut her down. I haven't said no. And so we're able to continue this conversation together to work out what the pros and the cons are and whether or not we think it's going to work in our family right now.
Yeah, so we've got a 14-year-old who wants Snapchat. She hasn't given me the essay yet, but maybe if she listens to the podcast, it's going to be forthcoming. Let's wait and watch this space. Hey, thanks for sharing your I'll Do Better Tomorrow. What's the take-home message for that one?
I think when our kids want things, especially when they feel really big and important to them, it's really important that we don't shut them down, that we give them the opportunity to come to the table with an argument. And as a parent, having the capacity to be open-minded and recognise that if your kids can come up with some genuinely good reasons as to why they should have something, that should go a long way in helping you to make a decision.
Okay. I'm open to the conversation. Great take-home message. My one's really simple. Last week I was in Sydney. I've hinted, I can't say a whole lot, but I've hinted that there was a whole lot of season 2 parental guidance stuff happening that I was involved in. So excited for season 2. That's all I can say. I'm so excited for season 2 of parental guidance. But while I was there, Sydney had its massive light show, Vivid, happening. It was freezing cold, like icy, horribly windy, cold, horrible weather. But we decided to do something completely out of the box, something that I don't think we've ever done so spontaneously since we decided to drive to Rockhampton when you were pregnant and then drive home while you were labouring. I contacted you and said, let's bring the kids down for the weekend. And so you and the kids came to Sydney for the weekend and we got to hang out at Vivid. We visited loved ones and friends that we haven't seen for ages as we travelled around, and we just had a great weekend as a family. And it was extravagant and a challenge, and it's going to cause some discomfort as a result for a couple of weeks as we recover from it, maybe a couple of months. But the experience was worth it, regardless of what the cost was. And it was just a reminder, seeing the delight on the kids' faces when they got to do something so different. I mean, I don't know when the last time was that we put them on an aeroplane together. I can't remember the last time we actually went away on a holiday. Like, COVID has completely shut down our holidays. We haven't holidayed for 2 years. And even though it was only a weekend, it was so exciting to see how much fun they had. To be walking around Vivid at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night with our 18-year-old daughter, and she's just having a ball with us, thinking it's the best. To be spending time with the little kids as we hugged and wrestled and visited friends. And I just thought the whole thing, it was a reminder that we need to do that sort of stuff more often. It doesn't even have to cost lots of money, but just doing spontaneous big things with our kids, it makes a difference.
The joy for me was showing up somewhere and having the kids have a recollection and kind of go, oh, hang on a sec, does my friend live here?
Yes.
And I mean, Emily was 2 when we left. And so for her, while we've been back a couple of times, she's really digging hard and digging deep to kind of come up with these connections. But to see her face light up when she remembered there's somebody here that I loved.
Yeah.
And to watch them reconnect. And as kids, they have this capacity to just pick up where they left off. And every time the kids would reconnect with somebody that they haven't seen for a couple of years now, it just was so beautiful. It filled my love bucket just watching it without even having to participate in it.
There's another take-home message right there, though. I love that. The idea that we should take our kids back to places that we used to be so that they can strengthen, renew, rekindle those relationships. It really was an absolutely sweet thing to do last weekend. So that's my I'll Do Better Tomorrow. We've covered some ground. Kate Middleton, Princess Louis, Dad's Guide to Pregnancy for Dummies, out now. Pre-order. Please get hold of it if you know any dad or anyone who's about to become a dad, whether it's for the first time or the 5th time. And
arguing with your kids.
Our I'll Do Better Tomorrow about apps and travel. Hey, we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend with your family. We hope that you get to have a super Saturday, a sensational Sunday, and we look forward to being back with you on the Happy Families podcast on Monday when we address the issue of smacking. It's back in the news. There are calls for smacking to be made illegal in Australia after some more countries around the world have done so, and some new research has come out in Australia showing just how rife smacking is in Australian families. We're going to pull that apart on Monday. I can't wait for that conversation. For now, though, the Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. And if you'd like more information about how your family can be happier, please join our Happy Families memberships. You can find everything that you need to know about it at happyfamilies.com.au. Have a great weekend.